Hey, this is Anthony Cesari with SuccessForYourSongs.com, and in this video we're going to be talking about a less thought of way for creating imagery in your songs. Imagery is a really great way of bringing people into your story and really letting them experience what's happening in your lyrics. So before I get to that less thought of way, let me first mention two ways that are very common for creating imagery in music. And one would be metaphors. Anytime you can create a metaphor, that's usually a good way to bring people into your song. And I do have more about that in other videos, but I do just want to mention that here. And also another great way for creating imagery is to describe visually something that's happening so that that helps us see it in our mind's eye as listeners. Now, I mentioned the idea that describing something visually is a common way, and this brings me into this less thought of way of having imagery in your music, and that's using the other senses when you're writing. That's a great way to pull people into your song, and since it's less used, sometimes it could be even more effective. Now I'm going to show you a few examples of this. I'm going to take you through some of the songs in my EP, Staring Down a Globe, that used some of the other senses aside from sight to do this. So if you'd like to hear those songs and check them out, I've got a link for that in the upper right hand side of this video where you can do that. So here I just want to show you an instance of something visual, which again is a more common type of way to pull people in with imagery. So you can see that here in the first couple lines of the second verse. If you're feeling bold, grab a crayon, sketch out your dreams, press hard so they stay on. So that's something that's definitely visual. It's meant for you to see it. And again, this is something I talk about more in other videos, but I just wanted to mention that because it's so common, I think it's worth mentioning and letting you see an example here so that we can compare it to some of the examples using the other senses. Okay, so let's take a look at the song, What Time Is It Where You Are? In the first few lines here, so I'm just sitting here alone, staring down a globe. I give it a turn, feel my finger burn, pressing down to stop the spin. So this section it's addressing the sense of touch, right? So we all know, well, all of us who have dealt with physical globes at this point, maybe that's less common. But if you've ever, spun a globe and then put your finger on it to stop it, you get that burning feeling from the friction. So that's what this line is trying to encompass. And it's something that's, again, not visual. It's something that is trying to make the listener feel this if they've experienced that themselves. It kind of brings you back to that moment. So using these other senses aside from sight, so the other ones you have would be taste, which is probably the most infrequently used out of all of them, hearing, touch, and smell. Okay, so that's an example of touch there. And then I think that gives you an idea for as far as like the five senses go. But you can even sort of push outside of the five senses and start to get into a little bit beyond those, which we'll take a look at here. So in this song, Now I Know My Home, we have this line here, which says, I'm feeling the tug of its gravity, which isn't quite within those five senses. So this is probably considered a kinesthetic sense, which is basically your relation of your body to the world around you, like if you're falling or something like that. So the idea of feeling the tug of its gravity, again, this goes beyond the five usual senses and gets into this idea of how your body is reacting to the world around you. So another thing to keep in mind, inside, normally your go-to would be visual, but now you're looking at the other four and even beyond those, which this one starts to do. And along those same lines, we can see something similar happen in the song Our Love is a Work of Art. We have this line here, the beats of our hearts seemed in sync. So anytime you're talking about something that's happening within your own body, then you could think about this as an organic sense. Any kind of muscles tensing or heartbeats or anything like that. Heartbeat is probably being the most common of what you would use in a song as far as the organic sense goes, but you could just start to think about the things that you would feel inside your own body as a way to draw the listener in. Even the idea of breathing or, heavy breaths or anything like that would be a good example of this as well. So now you even have these 2 other senses that you can use in addition to the original 5. And along those same lines, in this song, Imagine How Great It Would Be, here I have this line that says, where did it go? Here. Weaving a blanket for the globe, and I'd smile because of the warmth it brings. So here we have the idea of warmth, which is even, a little bit outside of those other 5 senses. So I think when you find yourself normally going to, like I said, sight, or even metaphors, when you're creating metaphors, you can create them around these other senses. Now you have other options that you can push it, because even if you're already good at imagery and bringing people in, now you can start to think about how can you push that and do something that may offer a little bit of a different perspective to pull people into your story. So I hope you found this information useful. If you'd like to hear the songs that these examples came from, I've got a link for that EP on the screen here. And if you'd like a lot more information for improving your lyric writing, I got a couple of free cheat sheets for you that you can download by tapping on the screen here. Finally, if you haven't yet subscribed to this YouTube channel to stay updated on our latest songwriting videos, you can tap our logo on the screen for that. Thank you for checking this one out.
I'm just sitting here alone.